Ready for a deep dive? Today we're diving into The Skill Code by Beane.
Yeah, it's a book that really makes you think differently about how we learn.
I know, right? Like, why do some of those magical skills, those things that seem so effortless for some people,
Right.
seem to be slipping through our fingers?
It's like we're losing something that's certain something. And Beane, he's got some interesting thoughts on that.
He does. It's like he's uncovered this hidden language we've been tapping into for generations.
A skill code.
Exactly. And at the heart of it all, he says it boils down to the expert-novice bond.
That's right, that unique relationship. The expert, the one who's mastered the craft, and the novice, eager to learn.
So what makes this bond so special? What's going on there that we're not getting from, just picking up a book or watching a YouTube tutorial?
It's a dynamic, you see. A
Yeah.
back and forth. It goes beyond just passive learning. It's a two-way street.
Okay, explain that.
The expert needs help to get things done.
Yeah.
Work doesn't disappear, right? And the novice, they're raring to go. They want to contribute, to get their hands dirty, and in the process...
I learned, he learned.
Exactly. It's a win-win. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, and we both come out ahead. And the level of learning that happens in that kind of environment, you just can't replicate that in isolation.
I'm hooked already. So Beane lays out this skill code, a framework with 3 core elements: challenge, complexity, and connection.
Right.
Let's break those down. And let's start with challenge.
All right, so challenge. It's more than just hard work. You don't just wake up one day and you're a master chef.
Or a brain surgeon.
Right. It takes more than just showing up. Beane talks about this idea of healthy challenge.
Healthy challenge.
Pushing past those comfort zones, but with the right support, it's a delicate dance. He uses this example of a new chef, fresh out of culinary school,
Okay.
thrown into the fire, learning to manage multiple dishes at once during a crazy, hectic dinner rush.
Oh, I can only imagine. I can feel the heat in here.
Right. Trial by fire, but with a safety net.
So there's someone there to catch you when you fall.
Yeah.
It's not just about throwing you in the deep end and saying, swim.
Exactly. That's where the expert steps in, guiding, offering a bit of scaffolding. Breaking down those complex tasks into manageable steps, a little bit at a time, offering encouragement when things get tough.
Because they will.
Oh, they absolutely will. But crucially, they help reframe those setbacks
Inevitable setback.
into learning opportunities. Okay, that didn't go as planned, but what did we learn? How can we adapt? How can we do better next time?
So it's not about avoiding mistakes altogether.
No, not at all. It's about making those mistakes productive. Think about it.
I am.
Think about a time when you really challenged yourself, maybe learning a new language or an instrument, something outside your comfort zone. It wasn't always fun and games, was it?
Definitely not.
You probably had moments where you just wanted to chuck that guitar out the window or say, forget it, I'll stick to English.
Oh yeah. Frustration, setbacks, wanting to quit.
Been there.
But those struggles, those moments where you felt like giving up, they were actually essential to your growth. Each stumble helped you refine your approach, helped you figure out what worked, what didn't.
You learn what not to do, which, let's be honest, sometimes that's the most valuable lesson.
It often is. I'm reminded of this old saying,
Go on.
that which doesn't kill you.
Makes you stronger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the heart of Beane's argument. Those moments of struggle, when embraced correctly, they actually rewire our brains, building resilience, building a deeper, more nuanced understanding. That's why he talks about this thing called deliberate practice.
Okay. I've heard that term before, but what does it actually mean?
It means you don't shy away from the hard stuff. You intentionally seek out those challenges. You break down complex skills into their individual components. And then what?
And then?
You practice those tricky bits, the ones that make you want to tear your hair out, over and over again, until they become second nature. So challenge is about embracing those moments of productive struggle.
You got it.
What about complexity?
Complexity. It's not enough to just master individual tasks. Think about a time you really excelled at something. I mean, truly knocked it out of the park.
Okay.
It wasn't just because you knew how to do your own little part, was it? You understood how your role, your specific tasks, fit into the larger context, the bigger picture.
That makes sense.
Beane gives this example of Sita, a warehouse worker.
Okay, what about her?
Sita thrived in her role, really excelled. And you know why?
Why?
Curiosity. She was curious about everything. Sita went above and beyond her assigned tasks. She wanted to understand the entire flow of work in that warehouse.
She wasn't content just clocking in and clocking out.
No way. See, she wasn't just packing boxes. She was thinking about the whole supply chain. How her role, her seemingly small part, was actually one piece of a much larger, much more intricate puzzle.
She was expanding her field of vision, seeing the interconnectedness of everything.
Exactly. And it was this constant exposure to what Beane calls situational complexity that allowed Sita to develop a much broader, more adaptable skill set.
So it wasn't just about doing the work. It was about understanding the why behind the what.
Precisely. And that made her incredibly valuable.
I bet it did. It's like the difference between just knowing how to use individual apps on your phone and actually understanding how the entire operating system works.
It's about seeing the forest, not just the trees.
And Sita, she could see the whole forest.
That she could. And that's where things get really interesting, because Beane argues that some of the very technologies we're implementing, all in the name of progress, to boost efficiency,
Right.
might actually be hindering our ability to develop those kinds of skills.
It's like we're getting ahead of ourselves. We've talked about challenge and complexity, both which thrive on that expert-novice bond, that human connection. Are you saying our reliance on technology is impacting that connection as well?
That's exactly where Beane raises a red flag. He argues that technology, while promising efficiency, progress, all those good things, can sometimes chip away at all three elements of the skill code challenge: complexity and connection. And often, we don't even realize it's happening.
So our quest for productivity, for doing things faster, better, smoother, might actually be making us less skilled.
It's a paradox, isn't it? We think we're making things better, but we might be unintentionally undermining the very skills we need to thrive in the long run. Take automation, for example. Beane uses the example of a medical resident.
Okay, a doctor in training.
Exactly. And their learning, their ability to progress in their field, it's actually being hampered by the introduction of surgical robots.
Okay, hold on. Robots in surgery. That's incredible. But surely that's a win for everyone.
In the hands of a skilled surgeon, absolutely. But think about it from the resident's perspective. They're there to learn, to gradually take on more responsibility, right? But the robot, it changes the dynamic. Instead of assisting the surgeon directly, getting that hands-on experience,
They're stuck on the sidelines.
in a way, yes, relegated to a more observational role.
So they're missing out on those crucial hands-on experiences. The healthy challenge of making decisions in real time, with the expert right there to guide them.
Precisely. And the complexities of the surgery itself, all those nuances, they can become obscured. It's like learning to drive by watching someone else control the car remotely.
You might pick up a few things here and there,
Maybe.
but you're not developing the same intuitive feel for the road, the same instincts.
You're not in the driver's seat.
It's like they're losing out on that entire apprenticeship experience, that time-tested way of learning a craft.
Because the robots become the apprentice.
Wow. And this isn't just happening in operating rooms, is it?
No, not at all. Beane's research, it highlights similar patterns across a wide range of industries. Remember Sita, our star warehouse worker, the one who thrived on complexity.
How could I forget Sita?
Imagine if her role, the very thing that allowed her to learn and grow, became increasingly automated.
She'd be devastated. More importantly, her ability to learn and grow, it would be stifled. She'd lose that connection to the bigger picture, that satisfaction of being a valuable part of a complex system.
And that sense of connection, that's so crucial, not just to the work itself, but to the team, to the mentors who guide us, to the shared experience of building something together. Technology, it can have a subtle but significant impact on that.
I can see that. Think about the rise of remote work.
Exactly.
I remember when I was starting out, fresh out of college, working remotely, and I was eager to learn. I wanted to soak up everything I could from my more experienced colleagues.
Of course.
But I missed out on those everyday interactions, those informal moments of mentorship that just happen organically when you're in an office setting. Grabbing coffee with a colleague, bouncing ideas around by the water cooler.
Those seemingly insignificant moments, they can be gold mines of learning.
And I was so focused on proving I could handle the work, on not messing up, that I didn't realize how much I was missing by not being physically present.
It's those small interactions, those opportunities to observe, to ask quick questions, to absorb the nuances of a particular skill that can add up to a significant learning advantage.
You don't know what you don't know.
And as Beane points out, it's a slow, hidden price we pay for the convenience and efficiency of a more tech-driven workplace.
So where does that leave us? Are we destined to become less skilled as technology advances? Do we ditch all this new tech and go back to the way things were?
That's not realistic.
No.
Nor is it desirable, to be honest. Technology has brought incredible advancements, and it has the potential to enhance our lives in countless ways. But Beane's work, it's a call to be more mindful
Mindful.
of the trade-offs. We need to be intentional about how we design, implement, and use these technologies,
Okay.
ensuring they're tools that support, not stifle, our human capacity for skill development.
Okay, I'm with you. So how do we strike that balance? How do we harness the power of technology while also nurturing those essential elements of the skill code? The challenge, the complexity, the connection. Is it even possible?
That's where Beane's concept of shadow learning comes into play, and it's a fascinating phenomenon.
Shadow learning. It sounds a bit like, well, operating in the shadows.
In a way, it is. It's about individuals who, even when faced with barriers or limitations, find creative, sometimes unconventional, ways to learn and adapt.
Give me an example.
They might bend the rules, seek out knowledge on their own time, find mentors in unexpected places. They're go-getters, these shadow learners.
So it's about taking ownership of your own skill development, even if the system, the company, the way things are set up isn't necessarily designed to support it.
Exactly. And Beane shares some compelling examples in the book. There's the surgeon who, concerned about falling behind with robotic surgery, secretly learns the techniques by observing engineers during their downtime.
Wow.
Then there's the warehouse worker, worried about her job becoming automated, who teaches herself about robotics by studying manuals during her breaks.
These are people who are hungry to learn. They understand the value of those 3 C's, even when they're not readily available in their environment.
They find a way.
That's inspiring.
It is inspiring. It shows that the human drive to learn and adapt, it's powerful. But as inspiring as these shadow learners are, it can't be the only solution, right? We can't expect everyone to become a rogue learner, hacking the system to gain the skills they need. There needs to be a more systemic approach.
Absolutely. So how do we move beyond these individual acts of shadow learning to create a future of work where technology enhances rather than diminishes our capacity for skill development?
Beane proposes a 3-pronged approach: discover, develop, and deploy.
Discover, develop, and deploy. I like the sound of that. It feels active, intentional. Break it down for us. What do those stages actually look like in practice?
Okay, so discover. Discover is all about awareness. Hitting pause for a second, taking stock of the situation, really examining our current reality.
Okay.
Where are we seeing potential breakdowns of challenge, complexity, and connection in our workplaces?
I see.
Are there roles where experts and novices are being unintentionally siloed, kept apart, missing out on those vital interactions?
It's like we're doing a skill code audit
Yes.
of our organizations, our teams, pinpointing those areas where technology might be inadvertently hindering growth.
Exactly. Once we've identified those pressure points, those areas where things are getting, a little off track, then we can move into develop. And this is where we get to be creative. How can we redesign work processes, structures, even the physical layout of our workspaces to foster those 3 C's? Can we build systems that encourage collaboration?
Instead of isolation.
Exactly. Knowledge sharing.
Sharing is caring.
It really is. And yes, even a bit of healthy struggle. Remember, no pain, no gain, right?
In a safe and supportive environment, of course. It's about being intentional. Instead of just letting technology dictate how we work, we're stepping back and saying, okay, how can we leverage these tools in a way that actually enhances human capability, that makes us more skilled, not less?
Precisely. And that brings us to deploy,
Yeah.
which is all about using technology in a way that aligns with those human-centered goals. What if, instead of replacing human connection, technology could actually amplify it?
Now you're talking. And I think this is where you're getting with the whole SkillNet idea.
Exactly.
Remind me again, what is SkillNet?
So picture this: a global AI-powered platform, and it's dedicated entirely to skill development.
Okay, I'm picturing it. Keep going.
Think personalized learning pathways, tailored to your specific goals and interests.
Like a GPS for your career.
I like that, a GPS for your career. And imagine having access to real-time coaching from experts around the world.
Okay, now we're talking. This sounds amazing, but also a little,
Yeah.
well, futuristic.
Mm.
Is this even possible?
Beane seems to think so. Think about it. You're struggling with a particular coding concept.
Been there.
Right. Instead of banging your head against the wall, you hop on SkillNet. Your personalized AI coach walks you through the basics, maybe offers a few practice exercises, and then you're connected with a seasoned coding guru on the other side of the globe who can provide personalized feedback and advice, all in real time.
All through my computer screen.
Even better, augmented reality. You're seeing the code, they're seeing the code, and you're both able to interact with it in a shared virtual space.
That's incredible. So it's like having the world's best teachers and training programs at your fingertips 24/7.
Exactly. And what I find so compelling about Beane's vision is that he doesn't just present these futuristic ideas in a vacuum. He connects them back to those timeless principles of the skill code challenge, complexity, and connection, arguing that technology, when used thoughtfully, can actually enhance those elements, not replace them.
So it's not about choosing between humans and technology. It's about finding ways for them to work together, to complement each other.
Exactly. He's challenging us to think beyond our current limitations, to envision a future where technology empowers us to reach our full potential, individually and collectively. A future where work becomes a continuous journey of learning and growth, where everyone has access to the tools and resources they need to thrive.
This has been an incredible deep dive. The Skill Code. It's not just a book about skill development, it's a roadmap for a more human-centered future of work.
Absolutely.
And I think the key takeaway for you, the listener, is to really reflect on your own relationship with technology.
Think about it.
Is it supporting your growth? Or are there ways it might be subtly holding you back?
It's a question worth asking.
Embrace those moments of challenge, seek out complexity, and nurture those vital connections with mentors and peers.
Don't let those connections fade.
Because the future of skill, it isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we actively shape.
We're all in this together.
And that's a future worth fighting for.